reached the witching hour of this 2025 championship campaign. In and out. Loudoun United with a victory paired with the right results can clinch a playoff berth here tonight. Birmingham must win or their season is in effect over. We welcome you to Segra Field in Leesburg, joined by Jeff Antonella, Mike Watts on hand. Take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, and suddenly it's all become very simple. If you're Birmingham, one of two teams that could be eliminated in defeat tonight along with Miami. They need to win out and get a ton of help down the stretch to have a chance. For Loudoun United, totally different conversation. They've never made the playoffs before. If they get a win paired with either an Indy or a Detroit loss, they're in. And then their eyes can focus on hosting a quarterfinal in 3 weeks' time. Now, Jeff, as I turn to you, Abdelatif Abakora getting healthy and getting in form is an enormous step for this group.
And this is a group that doesn't want to just make the playoffs. This is a group that believes that they can go on a run. And Abakora is a big part of that. If he's able to tap back into that early season form, especially at this time in the season, this is a group that's going to be dangerous heading into the latter parts of the season.
Now, these sides met in week one. Birmingham had expectations of the postseason. What's happened since? A major disappointment.
Disappointment, to say the least. This is a group you can see over their last 10 matches. No wins, and then it's really the goals conceded when you look at what has failed this team. Goals scored over the last 10 matches, that's over a goal a match, which should be good enough if you're playing solid defensively, but they have not been able to get that job done, and it's desperation mode. And they've been in desperation mode, but tonight, in a night of elimination, it's really something that you're going to see this team step up for.
They're going to need to win out and get help to have a chance. They're also just going to need to flat out score goals, and Damas is the guy who can do it.
He is, and especially in moments of transition, keep your eye on Damas. He's somebody that's very threatening in behind, and to your point, they need to start scoring goals because they have not been able to keep the ball out of the back of the net. And when Loudoun's pressing high, look for Damas to make those runs in over the top, and it'll be up to the midfielders like Enzo Martinez to put those balls in behind so that he's able to run on and try to create those opportunities for him to use his pace in behind.
So Loudoun United playing exclusively teams with massive playoff implications down the stretch of the season. That continues tonight. Loudoun and United, is this the year that Loudoun reaches the postseason? We may find out tonight. Birmingham and Loudoun coming up next.
Meet Bob.
Did you sign up for your boating class?
Nah, I gotta learn how to swim first.
Meet Abasola.
New shoes?
They are a lifestyle.
They fell in love and now have a blended family.
You are a bad influence.
You're welcome.
Life isn't always easy when cultures collide.
Hey, Auntie.
But they can always count that Abasola loves Bob.
Everything's gonna be great.
And Bob hearts Abasola.
Weekdays at 7 on DCW 50.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
DC News Now is on Roku. Early morning, ready, set, Roku. Afternoon, Roke Us. Evening, overnight, whenever you want, Roke it on Roku. Need your weather? We've got that. Want to see what the community's up to? We've got that too. Looking for ways to stretch your dollar? Roke your savings. Newscasts, features, weather, sports, living local DMV, and custom content just for you on Roku. Search DC News Now today and let's Roku and roll.
What kind of future do you want? You have something worth fighting for.
Failure is not an option. Anyone? Just a second, Bradley. Anyone?
On this field, winners are born.
Hold on to your butts. I know who did it.
I know why.
My thing's bigger.
Shut up.
Settle up, partner.
Here goes nothing.
Get your game on.
Thanks for coming after me.
We look forward to our very bright future.
Tonight's starting 11 for Loudoun United, and they've made a pair of changes. Tingy's back into the group
And that's a good sign for Loudoun, as it's something that they could do to shore up themselves defensively. Tingy comes back into that right center back spot. Abukar, we talked about him in the open. He'll slot back into that starting rotation, which is another good sight for Loudoun. And Pedro Santos starts tonight on the bench, which is an interesting choice from Coach Ryan Martin. Not a bad option coming off when you're talking about needing a sub late in the game who can make an impact.
No doubt. Starting lineups brought to you by VSI, the official choice for ultimate spine solutions. Birmingham, to save their season, need a win. Here's the 11.
They do need a win, and I hope to see Enzo Martinez be an impact player in this game tonight. He's somebody who can really dictate the pace of this game, and he's somebody that Birmingham is going to need to step up, even though he is more a veteran player. And we talk about them defensively. Look for Travis and Daly to be those wing backs who are a little bit more inverted at times in moments of transition, but they're going to need to be solid defensively as well, because Loudoun's a group that's going to want to overload them on one side. So they're going to need to be those types of players that are playing both attacking and defensively solid for this team to have a chance tonight.
Here it is, Loudoun United, a win and a loss by one of the two teams at the bottom of the playoff picture. They're in. Birmingham must win this game to stay alive. We're underway in Leesburg, and a very early handball.
And a quick start straight off the kickoff from this Loudoun group. You can tell that they have just a sense of urgency within this group to get this done tonight in terms of trying to clinch their playoff spot. Straight off the kickoff, playing very direct, putting the defensive line for Birmingham, which has been a weaker spot throughout the course of the season, under pressure, able to draw the handball. Now we already have a first look at a dangerous free kick, not even a minute into the game.
Abukora, goal and an assist last week. And Kwame Awuwa stand over the ball. Both as good a idea of why Loudoun has taken this tremendous step. Abukora has become one of the league's elite scorers. Awuwa fully healthy this year. Abukora. Abdelatif Abukora off the wall. A second go at it is blocked. Ricochets out into the width. Service lobbed up by McCabe and steered outward. Back in from Tingy, seeking Learman, and that will escape for a corner. This is an IBEW Local 26 corner kick. IBEW Local 26, empower your future.
Empower your future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Corner for Loudoun. Do you want to do it this time?
This is an IBEW Local 26 corner kick by IBEW Local 26. Empower your future.
Wonderful work, Jeff.
Abukora. Nailed it. Birmingham already up to the task defensively. They've been putting under it for the last 2 minutes here. That's a good job by them with two different set pieces.
Abukora near post. Hits it right at Delgado.
Well-designed play off the corner kick there, trying to find that space at the near post. But again, I do like the way that Birmingham's reacted defensively. 3 set pieces already under the first 2 minutes, but they got to clean up stuff like that.
And they win the ball. Loudoun again in the final third. Angling back, falls to Tyler Pasher.
Those are the moments where Birmingham just needs to clean up. They do a good job defensively, clear the ball out of danger. They finally have a little bit of possession, and the first pass is an immediate turnover, and they're back under it defensively.
Rolled over by Kavita. Turnbull remains as a center back in a back three. Driven away by Delgado. His third consecutive start in that position. It's a throw for Loudoun United. Three winless for Loudoun. Got off to that tremendous start, 6 wins in 7. They've been great at home this year. 7 of their 11 wins here in Leesburg. A win today not only gives them a chance to clinch the playoffs, pending the result for Detroit or Indy. Either lose plus a win here would be enough. Also put them in dynamite position to try and host an opening round game. Abukora. Bucci goes to work. Velo trying to threaten.
that starts with that initial ball and over the top, and that's something that Loudoun's going to have on tonight. Right when they see the Birmingham back line able to step up like that, they have the attacking prowess to put those balls in over the top. Perfectly weighted bar into Abakora. You can see how his fancy footwork on top of the ball.
Delgado dropped it. It's still loose. And he's able to throw his body at it. It's only a corner. Birmingham has been all kinds of all over the place to start. Ben Mines nearly picked this off.
Well, we just talked about how balls in over the top are going to be threatening. The goalkeeper needs to do better here. Comes out, reads it well, but spills the ball. Does a great job recovering himself, making himself big to make that second save. But again, it's that direct ball over the top from the Loudoun midfield. Easy ball in behind. Keeper fumbles it. Fortunate for them not to be down early in this one.
This is an IBEW Local 26 corner kick. IBEW Local 26, empower your future. Give and go off the corner and squared. Tingy smashes that toward goal. Back in from Skundrich. Beneath it again. Whistle's gone. You saw the score a moment ago. Let me tell you what a perfect night would look like for Loudoun United. Win this game. Detroit actually wins against North Carolina. It would move Loudoun above NCFC into third place. And then Indy loses to Louisville in a window that starts about an hour and a half after our kickoff here. And they make the playoffs. They move into third place. And they eliminate Birmingham. There's Ryan Martin's dream personified. Bouncing ball through, steered to Farrell. We spoke to Ryan Martin, and it was so apparent. What would making the playoffs mean to you? He's been with the club since 2019. He said it would mean everything.
Well, and he's really somebody that's architected this ship and steered this ship in this direction. And I think what I like the most about this Loudoun group is there are a lot of players who have been here. They've experienced the wave of what's been the rise of Loudoun this season. A lot of players last year who just missed making the playoffs, and it's been something that's motivated them throughout the course of the season. And you see it in their play, you see it in their urgency, you see it in the way that they've been able to execute. Even tonight, you can tell how much it means to them, just how bright of a start they've had to this game. And on the flip side, a group like Birmingham, they're a desperate team right now. They haven't won in their last 10, and you're seeing that as it plays out. There's not as much urgency to start the game. There's not as much impact players stepping up in the moments of need. But on the flip side, Loudoun's had that, and they've had it throughout the course of the season, and it's one of the better stories in the USL.
I've spoken with Tommy Sohn, the former coach at Birmingham, who got let go 6 games into the season.
Great bit of skill there.
Tommy McCabe carries forward. Mines taps outside. Mines on the receiving end, offers service. Velo flicks this back across, and the header is off the mark. It's Tingy who got up for it. Let's go to this for a moment. Awuah, Ryan, Learman, Thoreau, all guys in that first wave in for Loudoun who have a chance to make history tonight. Decent chance here for Loudoun.
And what I really love about this is it starts with McCabe making that run from the midfield. He's able to connect here with Abakara with the tricky, shifty play. But it's really that run for the midfield that creates this opportunity, and this is what they like to do. They like to overload. It's a decent cross in. They recycle their runs. They're able to refine it. Velo's patient, lifts up. Tingy again, another player who's making that run from that back position. And this is what they do. They like to swarm offensively. They like to overload. And this is a team that you could tell when they're in rhythm, this is what it looks like. They know where their own teammates are going to be. They're making those overlapping runs. They're recycling runs, and they have confidence that they're going to be able to be on the receiving end of those balls.
That's Learman getting stretched out, center back, 27-year-old Frenchman, making his 23rd start tonight, one off his career high. He's just seemingly dealt with a knock or two every year. Go back to this, right? Learman, part of that first group brought in by Ryan Martin. You know, what Tommy Sohn used to say, the former Birmingham head coach, is we're looking to bring in 3 or 4 guys every year that advance what we're trying to do as a program. And ultimately, Birmingham stalled out. Tommy Sohn goes after 6 games this year, former DC United head coach. And Ryan Martin, on the other hand, has seen sort of that first 4 stick around, and they've kept tacking guys on. You saw Mark Briggs there. And, well, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks here 1 win in 14 games. How do you move this forward? He was pretty blunt. That there was more work to be done perhaps than he had anticipated when he had taken the job over. It just has not clicked for that group. Learman walking off. And it looks like Robbie Dambrot had to do a quick warm-up. He's going to come into the game here.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for the player Learman. Here's a stalwart in that defense here for Loudoun in that back line. Really one of the architects, and you're talking about the guy that plays in the middle. And anytime that you have to make an early defensive sub with not much of a warm-up, you're kind of warming up on the fly here. So just something to be aware of, especially if Birmingham's able to create some type of opportunity when they're putting the balls in over the top.
Substitutions are brought to you by Segra. Learman off, Dambrot on. Of course, that does utilize a sub window as well. Damas going for it. The offside flag had already been raised on Enzo Martinez. Dambrot, by the way, did sign with the club in 2019, quote-unquote first wave kind of guy, but spent time away in Pittsburgh afterward, at the same time that his father was the coach at Duquesne as the men's basketball coach.
That's a fun fact.
Robbie's dad coached LeBron James in high school at St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron.
As the head coach?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The Dambrot coaching legacy, if Robbie ever wants to jump in, could be a multifaceted, multi-sport endeavor. The equivalent of coaching LeBron at any point is like saying Robbie Dambrot is going to become the coach for Lionel Messi, right? That's what we're talking about.
Maybe Messi's son.
Yeah, true enough. Ball dropped off. Here's Pasher. Never-present danger. And they're going to find that ball somewhere near the Washington Monument. Pasher slashing it up and over.
That's better, though, from Birmingham. The first bit of offensive spell that we've seen. And as we talked about in the lineups, Enzo Martinez is going to need to be a focal point of this offense. He receives that ball in deep. He's able to draw the defenders his way, and then he slips the ball to the open players in terms of when Birmingham's able to get those numbers forward. But he's a veteran player who's strong on the ball. His in-game recognition is better than just about anybody in the league still, even though he's at a little bit of an older age. But sometimes with that type of experience, you're able to see the game at a different pace.
Turnbull leading. Here's Amir Daly. Daly zigged. Expectation was that he would zag.
But this is what Birmingham needs to do. You see Abukara having to come back and play more defensively. They need to make them work. They need to make those outside attacking wingers for Loudoun work defensively so they don't have the same type of energy when they're going into the attack. That's a better job getting those numbers up higher by Birmingham. And here you're seeing a little bit more urgency. When we flashed over to Coach Mark Briggs, you could tell he was frustrated with the lack of urgency and really just their alertness to start the game. But now we're starting to see them press a little bit higher up the field, a little bit more attention to the ball. And then again, they're starting to get the ball more in possession and start to build a little bit more as opposed to just watching the game and, letting everything that Loudoun was doing come to them.
And he said after the North Carolina draw, Turnbull scored the equalizer 90+6. A win would have gone a long, long way there. Said that continuing to fight was great to see, but the first half they just didn't give themselves the opportunity without consistent sequences of possession. Probably a similar argument to be had tonight thus far. Something they're starting to dig out of.
Well, I think that's the most frustrating thing for a coach as well. When you're talking about a team that doesn't have a win in the last 10, they need to try to get these results to make a type of playoff push. The way that you start games, that should be the moment in the game where you are the most ready to go. You spend your week getting ready for it. You spend your warm-ups getting prepared for the moment. But then when you start a game slow without that type of alertness, to me as a coach, that would just tell me that you weren't ready for the moment. If it takes you that long to build into the big moments, then that's something that needs to be addressed.
Unfortunately, I think it's been addressed. It just hasn't
been executed by
translated.
the team.
6 draws in that span, and if you turn a couple of those into wins, you're having a totally different chat. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. Pasher onto his left. When you see Tyler Pasher cut in and have that shot at goal, we've seen some wild goals from Tyler Pasher in the past. He didn't get that quite right.
And that's something that Loudoun needs to be recognizing, right? So you know that Pasher has the ball out wide. He wants to cut this ball into his left. He does a good job creating that space. But then defensively, there needs to be a player who's able to step up. One of these players needs to step up to Pasher and make that shot a little bit more challenging. The defenders did a good job of making it a little bit more isolated in terms of where he could take the shot. But you don't want to give him that type of space, and you definitely want to, he's a player that you want to try to keep wide as best you can.
Hey, the USL is on ESPN2. You can watch Sunday, October 5th. My God, that's tomorrow. A clash of championship teams fighting for their playoff lives. Eastern Conference reigning champion Rhode Island battles to stay above the playoff line. Western Conference darling of a year ago, Las Vegas Lights, look to climb close to the line. October 5th, 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Enzo Martinez, who has seen all iterations of Loudoun United from the opponent's vantage point. So many years tormenting Loudoun in Charlotte. You know, the wild thing is, I think, you know, that MVP finalist season was in Charlotte, but if he were to go into a USL Hall of Fame one day, I think he would go in wearing a Birmingham kit, Enzo. Just pretty nuts, all things considered, that he's essentially spawned, you know, two sort of pseudo careers worthy of that nod
Within the league as well.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, I was with Enzo in Salt Lake for a season.
Wow.
Back in 2013. Same with Manuel Cavita. We were teammates for a while in Salt Lake as well.
There you go.
And Dan Barlow, the strength coach for Birmingham, was also at Salt Lake. There's a tie there.
I assume Enzo would put you in his dream five-a-side that he's played with. You're probably in that mix.
Yeah,
he couldn't have played with that many goalkeepers.
I'd probably give the nod to Ramondo.
Okay, all right. Somewhere Cody Mizell is like, this is my chance.
Speaking of goalkeeping, that was very well done from Perot. He's giving the ball under pressure, takes that touch inside, calm, cool, collected, and he's able to drive a dribble ball up to the number 9, who's then able to lay it off and build a sustained possession.
Velo taps inside and gets the return.
Those are the little things for a goalkeeper that you need to be recognizing now, and it's something that you need to be good at if you're playing the position. Able to receive that ball under pressure, forwards coming at you, you're calm, you take that touch inside, and it's not a lofted ball to the forward. If you put a lofted ball up to the forward, this goes for center backs, this goes for goalkeepers. If you put that lofted ball in, it gives that other team's defenders the opportunity to win that ball in the air and really do something in terms of hitting your forward and causing that type of contact. But if you're able to drive that ball low, then that's the forward can control the ball, and that's where you build up that type of layoff and that type of sustained possession. And that all comes off of a moment where the defense had to play the goalkeeper because they were under immense pressure, but the goalkeeper's then able to transition that and start the attack.
Good job by Cavita to shield him off. It's Kimi Ordonez, who one would imagine should be in line for a call from Guatemala next weekend. The league plays through these international breaks, so guys like Rubio Rabin or Kimi Ordonez, Charleston, Loudoun, number of players for the Jamaican squad always seem to get called up out of USL. Have to find a way to battle through that without those players for a week. May well be the case. Ball slid back to Abacora. Into space, flag down, keeper out. Delgado got there before Mines and spraying it the other way, but now the flag has gone up on that clearance.
A little bit of ping pong action there in terms of where the ball is going back and forth. It's this dangerous through ball again, right over the top. Below doing a good job finding that space in behind, and then you have to give the goalkeeper Delgado a lot of credit for that recognition. He is way off of his goal line, and then he's almost able to start that moment of transition. I'm not sure that's where he meant the ball to go, but he was able to find that gap in between the outside back and the center back. But unfortunately for Birmingham, during that exchange, Martinez wasn't able to get himself back on sides to continue that run in on goal. Those are 2 or 3 through balls that we've seen now from Loudoun, where the center back, Kavita, he stepped high. He's maintaining the rest of this line for Birmingham. And then there's so much space in between the center backs and the goalkeepers that ball in behind, that ball in over the top is going beyond for Loudoun. For them, it's just all about getting themselves underneath of it and being able to take that ball into space.
Will beings from another world come to Earth?
How long's a galactic year?
250 million years. Or could aliens live among us already? The Big Bang Theory.
Weeknights at 6 on DCW 50.
It always struck me as a Big Bang Theory fan.
I didn't mind it. It had its moments.
Ordonez, flag is down. Ordonez chopping it up with Kavita. Velo, ball through, flag remains down. Sent in front past McCabe. Tingy's there, flag was down the length of it. Injured player for Loudoun. It's like Ben Mines, and he does not look like that was a good fall either. Here he is. Mines couldn't tap it through. Key component of the 2021 championship title winning side in Orange County. And let's go back to that last chance. Mines down again.
Well, again, it's Birmingham. They're isolating their defenders, doing these 1v1s. Ordonez doing a good job cutting inside, and this is where the numbers for Loudoun start to expose themselves and get themselves forward. I thought that ball looked to be a little bit offsides there to Mines, but they were able to keep that line intact. Unfortunately for Loudoun, in that type of opportunity, when you have those numbers, Ordonez does a good job of getting Kavita 1v1. Kavita does a good job defensively slowing them up, but when you have those types of numbers, we have to get a shot on goal. You want to test the goalkeeper as best you can. Give Birmingham credit for getting themselves back in terms of numbers defensively, but again, it's that ball in over the top. You have a forward isolated against the center back. Loudoun's able to throw those numbers forward. Unfortunately for Loudoun, they're not able to get that shot off, but these are the types of situations when you have that much space in between that back line and you can put those balls in over the top. These are the situations you're going to run into.
They're working on the thigh of Ben Mines. Fan base here in Loudoun County has been waiting for a night like this. Couple road games coming up, then they'll finish with North Carolina at home. That could decide whether they're going to be watching home playoff soccer the first weekend of November here at home in the championship quarterfinals. You know, it's pretty wild. You think about it, Tampa Bay was trying to get back into the picture. Loudoun takes a couple points off them in a draw. Obviously, tonight can end Birmingham's competitive season as it may be. They'll go to Detroit and Indy back-to-back. Both those sides are just hoping that they can get back in the mix. And then they'll finish with North Carolina that could decide home field advantage. The end of their schedule is basically dictating the entire playoff field to an extent. You really hope this isn't the end of the night for Mines, but it looks like it is. And that's going to be 2 subs for Loudoun United in the first 24 minutes. And they'll be down to 1 window the rest of the way. So if Mines can't come back into this game, they'd have a real problem. Now, if Mines doesn't come back, you'd think Ryan Martin would have to really ponder making changes at halftime to utilize that sort of ever-present window, because you're only going to have 1 window remaining.
Well, I think right now it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Martin navigates this. There's still a lot of time here. If you're going to go 20 minutes, there's still a lot of time if you're going to go with the 10.
Well, they're playing with 10 at the moment. Daly dishing out of the reach of Pasher. Mari Glasgow has moved over to the fourth official. Ball angled across. That's high for Enzo Martinez. His 12th career game against Loudoun. He's won 7 of them. Only a couple goals, but 6 assists in his career against Loudoun United. That is the most of any opponent in club history. Here comes the substitution brought to you by Segra. Mines joins Learman, injured in this first half. Damrock came on earlier, and now Glasgow comes in now for his 9th appearance, his 7th off the bench. The loanee from Chicago.
Oh, that's a great hold-up play there from Ordonez.
Out to Abacora. Abacora back inside. Ordonez got shuffled off. Below. McCabe.
Ordonez able to draw 3 or 4 different Birmingham defenders to him. Create that overlapping run opportunity for Abacora.
Below toward Glasgow. He just came into the game.
It'll be interesting to see how Loudoun decides to navigate this with the early subs. Do they stick to the same formation? Do they drop somebody a little bit lower?
Hitting that end line. Again, Birmingham repel. I mean, you've been able to slide Dambrot into center back like for like. Glasgow coming in for Mines can play in that wide right area that he had occupied. So if there's any luck, it's that you've been able to sort of exchange like for like options to this point.
But on the flip side, it's a little bit of also about making sure that the players can go the rest of the 90 as well. Because when you lose those substitution opportunities, you know, players need to be a little bit mindful. Maybe there's a player like Abukar who's getting his start back into the lineup that maybe you had plans to take out at a certain moment, but as the games transpire, usually when players are coming back from different situations they haven't been starting, it's all about building into their minutes. So if there's any type of plan for a player, maybe Tingy was a plan for a player, those are the types of things that go out the window, and you need to make sure that you keep the health of everybody in mind, but you're also trying to navigate a situation that you weren't really prepared for in terms of what you felt like you were going to have to deal with.
And so often you'll talk to a coach and they'll say, we're thinking about 60 minutes. Well, if you're thinking 60, this drops in, hangs on the turf. Pasher got crunched from behind. That is a penalty. Tyler Pasher gets clattered by Dambrot, receives a yellow, while Birmingham will move to the penalty spot, a chance to grab the lead.
Well, a point of emphasis for this Birmingham group are those moments of transition. Loudoun seemed to have the ball in control, but Pasher doing a great job of getting himself in a position on Dambrot's back shoulder, and he puts him under this pressure. We talked about that cut inside. He loves to cut inside to his left. When Dambrot leaves his feet, he just cleans him out. You know that Pasher, he's a left-footed dominant player. Dambrot not able to keep him going wide. Instead, once that cut comes in, Dambrot leaves his feet in the box, which is always a risky move for a defender, and the referee points to the penalty spot. See if Birmingham can get the lead against the run of play here in the first half.
It's an unkind entrance for him. Thoreau in his career has saved 3 of 13. And it's A.J. Patterson with a big opportunity here for Birmingham. Has not scored yet this season. Patterson steps, fires, and scores. He turns Thoreau to stone. He has put Birmingham in front inside 30 minutes. A penalty with the season on the line. Ice in his veins. 1-0 Birmingham Legion.
And it really was a decisive penalty taken there from Patterson. As we get another look at the foul here, we talked about the cutback earlier. Once you leave your feet as a defender, you leave it up to the referee. Clear contact, but look at this penalty kick from Patterson. He does the quick little shuffle, opened up his body. Ferreau expected him to go down the middle. Always risky for a goalkeeper when you're not moving that way. Normally when players hit that stutter step, they get a little bit cute with it. You like to see them bend it to a corner, but instead Patterson just opts for that power, and Ferreau, thinking that ball was going down the middle, just stood no chance.
Mark Briggs looks on. Loudoun applied so much pressure in the early going, but it's Birmingham who've grabbed the opening goal tonight. That is the first attempted, and therefore made penalty in the championship for A.J. Patterson. He tried one previously in CONCACAF Nations League against Belize and had scored it, albeit that was over 6 years ago.
Yeah, I can't imagine they were able to find much tape on Patterson taking the penalty kick.
No. Somewhere Woodrow West is like, I know what he's going to do. It's the Belize goalkeeper from that game. That's half an hour in the book. And Pasher, a little bit of confidence after winning that pen. It's come down to Ferreau. So if you're Loudoun, sort of feels like their season in a nutshell. You've lost 2 starters due to injury, had to use both windows. You created some chances in the early going, but you haven't been able to get one over the line. Then you concede the penalty. I think what's made this season unique is they've always been resilient in these moments, and they're going to have to be again.
Absolutely, and we talked about there were a couple moments and different opportunities where they had numbers going attacking offensively, and instead of getting a shot off, the ball was moving from side to side just a little bit too much. You need to see that dangerous attack from Loudoun in terms of having that ruthless mentality. When you get yourself in front of the net, test the goalkeeper, get those shots on frame, because one ball over the top, one slide tackle in the box, the next thing you know, you're down 1-0 in a game that you've really dominated. And now we're seeing a Birmingham group. Look at the energy now in this Birmingham group. They're on top of it a little bit more. Loudoun's having to do a lot more work defensively. They're not able to maintain that possession. And that's just that type of ruthless mentality that a team like Loudoun, they've been able to have those moments in the early goings in the season. And when you're talking about building themselves into the playoffs, you need to see more of it.
Daly. Martinez trying to hook that backward, comes out to Florian Velo. Withstands the challenge. Got taken out at the end, and if you're going to give the foul, you're going to give the card. And such the case here for Sam Mickelhatton, who picks up his 4th card in 19 games. 4th yellow, he's got a red too.
Well, this is just a typical number 6 yellow card, isn't it? Pressuring below on his back, comes right through at the very end, making his presence known.
Yellow cards presented by Continental Cards. Continental Cards, elevate your collection. Were you a card collector growing up at all?
I was.
I've got like 9 binders. I went team by team alphabetically.
Nice.
I've got enough baseball cards to last a lifetime.
That's something that, as I got older, though, it got lost in the shuffle of my parents moving. So
I made sure.
You had all those cards, or like all those different things like Pogs. Did you ever have Pogs?
I did that. I didn't come around.
Did I just age myself there?
A little bit.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, that was something that got a little bit lost in the shuffle of parental moving.
Abakora kept it moving. Kwame Awuwa was offside. Abakora is beside himself. And you know, I guess what I'm getting at is, like, my parents came to me and said, hey, get your stuff out of our house. And I could have chosen to take a lot of things, but here I was, like, almost like the Baltimore Colts moving van, moving all my cards.
Keeping your sports cards with you.
Uh-huh.
Recently got my son into sports cards, so that's something I'm trying to carry over and keep the tradition alive.
And you're over here giving, like, you know, shoeless John Jones card from, you know, 1955 or something, and it's like, oh, okay, thanks, Dad. I'm looking forward to doing that myself. I'm with you.
Well, it's just I'm just buying new packs. It's all my all of mine are no longer in my possession.
Fair enough. Hey, watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Detroit City and Loudoun United, Saturday, October 11th from Keyworth in Hamtramck, 4 p.m. Eastern on 2DNA. Go to USLChampionship.com for complete USL TV listings. We'll see just how much is still on the line for these teams in that game. If they don't qualify here today, they can handle it on their own in that game, Loudoun, because it would take a win and a Detroit loss to ensure their place in the playoffs. They could just get it done and leave all the poor Detroit fans crying in their assorted drinks.
Well, that's what you want as a team. You want to have your own control over your playoff destiny. When you talk about the upcoming schedule for Loudoun, everything's in front of them. They play the teams that they need to play in order to get themselves over that line. Of course, it would be great if everything fell in place for them tonight, but you're playing against a team like Birmingham. This is the type of playoff experience that you need for Loudoun. I know it's not technically the playoffs, but when you're in this moment, when you're in this part of the season and everybody's competing for the same thing and everybody's season is on the line, this is the types of moments where you grow as a group, and the adversity that you face in these moments is what you need to deal with in order to prepare yourself for a long playoff run if you're able to pull it off.
Bounced away from Damas. Only 2 games in the early window on this Saturday, with 3 weeks remaining in the season. Of course, these fans have come out to see Loudoun in Birmingham. Detroit hosting North Carolina today as well. That goal from Jaceel Cedeno, penalty before halftime, is still the difference. That game is already midway through the second half. 1-0 Detroit. Later tonight, Miami at home could get eliminated by Pittsburgh should they lose. Tampa Bay trying to keep their season alive against Monterey Bay. I was talking to Jordan Stewart, the Monterey Bay head coach, last week. He said no one's taking that last playoff spot in the West, so until someone tells us to stop, we're going to keep going. We'll see if they can, after that upset over Sacramento, make a little noise down the stretch. Tulsa, Lexington, top 4 in the West. The Louisville-Indianapolis Proximity Association football contest. That is in Louisville, so I think everyone can stroll around the premises without concern. Switchback, San Antonio, fun game. Orange County, El Paso has 9 goals written all over it. Phoenix, New Mexico, a historic sort of battle. Rhode Island desperately needs points against Las Vegas, and Oakland, Hartford was scheduled for tonight. That's been moved because of the Jägermeister Cup final at 10 p.m. Eastern. That'll be Sacramento and Hartford over on the Golazo network. Did you enjoy the Jägermeister Cup?
I did.
The expanded version, all 38 teams, SFL.
And I think that it's important, too, that they did a good job of prioritizing it.
Making it Saturdays, right?
Making it an area of focus for the teams, because whenever you sandwich cup games, people like to win trophies. Fans like to win trophies, organizations like to win trophies, and players especially. That's what you play for, is to win trophies. But when you're sandwiching tournaments in between the rest of the season, or you're really trying to just squeeze in as many games as you can, it makes it challenging for organizations to be able to navigate those tournaments in the way that they want to in terms of trying to get that win. And they did a good job, I thought, with the Jägermeister Cup in terms of making sure it was a priority for these teams and you could field a lineup that you want to field. And it was competitive and it was fun. And I think that we had 2 of the teams that are playing the best soccer right now in terms of when you look around the USL. So it should be an exciting final.
No doubt. Tingy lacing that right at Delgado. I also like that they played them at a specific time, right? It was the weekend, the final weekend of every month.
You knew when it was going to come.
Exactly.
And teams could prepare for it.
As opposed to sometimes Open Cup, it's like, hey, here we go on a Wednesday, then we'll see you 4 Tuesdays from next week, and then it just always felt a little helter-skelter to me. Here comes Pasher. Overlap available. Daly returns to Pasher, who won the penalty, scored by Patterson in the 29th minute. Turnbull.
It's good patience there from Birmingham. They recognized that they didn't have the opportunity to bring it on. Instead, they bring the ball back around. And now you have a Loudoun group that's having to chase more defensively.
Header down, but into the path of Enzo Martinez. He was stymied. Pasher out of the reach of Daly.
Meet Bob. Meet Abishola. Life isn't always easy when cultures collide.
Hey, Auntie.
But they can always count that Abishola loves Bob, and Bob hearts Abishola.
Weekdays at 7 on DCW 50.
If there's a rom-com with that actor, I'm going to watch it.
There you go.
Mike and Molly, Bob Hart's Abishola, I'm here for all of it. Awuwa, boy, you score that goal, you chip the keeper, and all of a sudden that's part of the highlight forever. Sometimes you luck out.
But again, that's good goalkeeping there from Delgado. He's recognizing that the gap between himself and the center backs is so big that he has to play high off his line. Loudoun, the point of emphasis is to try to get these balls in behind. It's a good ball flicked on into that open space where you'd expect a Loudoun player to be able to run onto that, but because Delgado has such a high line, he's able to clear that out.
Below. Pasher closed him down. Abacora tried to break it open.
And this is a problem that Loudoun keeps running into. They get these numbers forward, and when it's not a moment of transition, Birmingham is really squeezing the middle of the field, so there's no space for these players to connect these passes, and there really hasn't been a lane for them to get these shots off. Going to need to see a little bit more creativity from this Loudoun group offensively when you're talking about Birmingham getting the opportunity to get those numbers behind the ball, because they're not doing a good job of moving that group from side to side, and everything's just bunched up together on top of the box where there's not much space to operate.
Abacora weaving run. It's out of the reach of Glasgow. Select, proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Watching Loudoun United on DC News Now and ESPN Plus tonight. Loudoun with a win and a loss by either Detroit or Indy into the playoffs. Birmingham, on the other hand, are well on their way to trying to spoil that party and keep their season alive. A critical 3 points tonight, a loss, and they would be eliminated. And I give them a lot of credit, right? You get to 10 winless, you get to the end of the year, the odds are at this point very much stacked against them, especially after the goal, right? You suffered early on the road, and then you've been able to get back into this thing. It's been rather impressive to see that reaction.
Well, goals change games, and goals change attitudes that you have about the games. And Birmingham really did not have a bright start to this one. There was about 15 minutes there where it didn't really seem like they were into the game. Loudoun had that possession. They were able to smother them defensively. But then once you're able to get that goal, you had a couple chances. Pasher got that cut inside earlier in the moment. You had a couple more layoff opportunities, shots over the frame, and then they started to build themselves into it. And really, ever since those two substitutes from Loudoun, this is a group from Loudoun that's played differently. It doesn't look like they've had that same urgency. They haven't had that same sharpness. I'm not saying that's because of the substitutes, but it has been a moment in this game where it's impacted the flow.
Approaching the final third. Velo brings that wide. We saw the update from Detroit. Ates Diouf has scored in the 74th. Detroit City has 2 shots on target and 2 goals tonight. I'll tell you what that means in a moment.
But again, look at this opportunity. When you're talking about Velo, he has the opportunity to get this shot off, but there's so many Birmingham defenders around him. There's really nowhere for him to put that shot on target except for that near post, and it would have had to be so much bend on it that it's so difficult for the attacking player. I'd like to see this Loudoun group get the ball a little bit wider, get themselves away from that center of the 18-yard box where all those Birmingham defenders are converging, and just be a little bit more creative in that final third so you can get a good look on goal.
That got out. So what would this mean, right? Detroit would move into 7th place, pull away from Rhode Island for the time being. They play Las Vegas later tonight. North Carolina are the 3 seed right now. Loudoun, if they were to come back and win this game, combined with the NCFC loss, would actually jump into 3rd place. But really, as much as they're looking at North Carolina, they need to look over their shoulder because Hartford will have a game in hand because they're playing the Jaeger final tonight, and they would sit just 1 point back. Pittsburgh plays later tonight against the bottom team in the East, Miami. If they win that game and Loudoun and North Carolina both lose, Loudoun would move down to 5th. Pittsburgh would move to 4th, and they'd be a point away from North Carolina for the 3rd position in the East.
But there's just still so much to play for.
So much. It is really, really tight. And you know, I thought back to last year, and I looked at the standings then, and it was about this tight at 27 weeks last year. And then you got 4 weeks up the road, and everything had stratified. Well, they got rid of the 4 extra games because of Jägermeister Cup group stage games. So you're basically good to the last drop because it's still, there haven't been enough games that outside of that top 2, there's been that stratification. So sort of added extra emphasis here at the end. There'll be a minimum of 5 added minutes. Stoppage time brought to you by Novak. Novak's energy saving tips are a real game changer. Oh, brilliant. That's Ryan Rose, our director, knowing exactly where to shoot on a Novak ad. Wow. Now that's directing you can count on. This kept in at the end line. That is a goal kick. Well, one said goal kick, the referee overruled him. It's a corner.
The way the players reacted as well, everybody was making their way slowly walking to the corner kick where they would stand on corner kick. So,
well, what Birmingham knows.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, IBEW Local 26 corner kick, empower your future. Diving header by Ronaldo Damas. Header backward toward the goal. That is nodded away from the post by a leaping, I believe that's Enzo Martinez. No. The beard says no. The lack of a beard says no.
So it might be Pasher playing defensively. Albacore with this cross in, Delgado just not on the same page with his defender, not able to communicate. But then it's this play at the back post, prevents a goal, puts his body on the line. When we look about it, it's Turnbull. Turnbull, the defender, going up strongly, protecting his goal line. But again, as a goalkeeper, when you come off the line like that, you need to make sure you're on the same page with your defender, leaving the goal exposed. Fortunately for Birmingham, Turnbull was switched on.
Oh, slip through, Velo played centrally. Awuwa spotted the run he wanted. That is definitely Enzo Martinez. Boy, Turnbull got the short end of that stick, huh? Sorry, man, great play. Skudrich, contemplative, stepping forward, unloading for frame, stings the palms of Delgado. Keegan Tingy really wailing on that.
Well, when you're not having success around the 18-yard box, get yourself a little bit deeper and have a hit when you have that space. Tingy doing a good job driving it, but an even better job there from the goalkeeper, Delgado. There was traffic in front, and this ball is hit with some serious venom, but Delgado was able to control it and hold on to it because there were players from Loudoun crashing that goal box waiting for the rebound, but it was nowhere to be found because Delgado had those sure hands. Back to that play by Turnbull. When your goalkeeper leaves the net like that, as defenders, your job is to sprint to the goal box, and because it takes that deflection, hit the way that he was switched on and able to track it, also able to shield off the Loudoun attacker. Just an excellent play there from the center back.
Foul on Ordonez. operator needs to find out for whom the alarm tolls. Wow, Abakora, come on. Only lifted off him. Out into space, Damas. That's a nerve-wracking moment when you have Ronaldo Damas one step behind you. He's about to be one step in front of you.
They did a good job, Loudoun did, of having two defenders back there, though. You want to make sure you're at least up a player when you have a player like Damas making those runs in behind. But even with Abakora, when he's attacking offensively on the beginning of that sequence, it's just a little bit, there's just one too many. One too many touches, not able to slip the ball, giving Birmingham's defender that type of time to come back in and cover the space. So even when he's able to beat the one defender, there's another one sliding in to cover.
Well, there's halftime for Loudoun United. Bit of adversity, 2 injuries that will see them down to 1 sub window the rest of the way. The goal, an A.J. Patterson penalty, won by Tyler Pasher. And the Legion, their last gasp, proving to be every bit the monster that Ryan Martin feared.
Well, really a tale of 2 first halves almost. You had a Loudoun group who was dominant in the first part of that first half, and they were able to attack with a lot of numbers, get themselves forward, but credit Birmingham, they were able to withstand, draw the penalty, get the goal, and now it's a moment for Coach Ryan Martin to regroup his side and for Coach Mark Briggs to continue this Birmingham attack, try to keep them going forward and keep that energy as high as they were able to do at the end of this first half.
So good Oktoberfest energy in the stands. Meanwhile, Birmingham Legion has their eyes on spoiling the party and keeping their season alive at least another week. Patterson, the goal scorer after that penalty won by Pasher. And Loudoun United's clinching party may well have to wait. Legion up 1-0, halftime coming up.
DC News Now is on Roku. Early morning, ready, set, Roku. Afternoon, Roke Us. Evening, overnight, whenever you want, Roke it on Roku. Need your weather? We've got that. Want to see what the community's up to? We've got that too. Looking for ways to stretch your dollar? Roke your savings. Newscasts, features, weather, sports, living local DMV, and custom content just for you on Roku. Search DC News Now today and let's Roku and roll.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
DC News Now is on Roku. Early morning, ready, set, Roku. Afternoon, Roke Us. Evening, overnight, whenever you want, Roke it on Roku. Need your weather? We've got that. Want to see what the community's up to? We've got that too. Looking for ways to stretch your dollar? Roke your savings. Newscasts, features, weather, sports, living local DMV, and custom content just for you on Roku. Search DC News Now today and let's Roku and roll.
You have the power to save. Take charge of your energy bill with these tips from Novec. Adjust your ceiling fans to rotate counterclockwise for warmer weather. Novec also recommends installing a programmable thermostat to avoid cooling your home when you're away. Set your water heater to 120 degrees. Novec is helping members save energy, which means saving money. Harness your savings power. Find more tips and tools at novec.com/save.
Halftime is brought to you by Van Meter. It is 1-0 to Birmingham at halftime. And Loudoun United trying to find their way forward and with it potentially into the playoffs. I've watched Jeff Antonella walk you through all the news that's fit the print here at halftime. How about we take a look at the clinching scenarios just to refresh some memory. Look, you need the win and either Indy losing at Louisville, Louisville's lost once all season, or a win and a Detroit loss. Maybe the least likely of any of these, Rhode Island losing against Las Vegas. That is a possibility as well.
Well, you can't really rule anything out when you're talking about teams headed to the playoffs, but for Loudoun, you have to handle your business today. None of that matters if you're not able to get those 3 points, but it is fun for us as fans to look at. It is fun for the group of Loudoun to think about all the different ways that they can clinch the playoffs in terms of the results they need, but ultimately it comes down to getting those 3 points today because that's what matters the most for the group.
And what's more, if you don't, you face Detroit and Indy in successive games the next 2 weeks on the road, and you can handle that business on your own as well. Meanwhile, what's going on around the championship? Well, it is the Jägermeister Cup final. The 2024 USL Championship winning Sacramento, the best defensive record in the competition, against upstart Hartford, the best attacking record.
Which is interesting because I do think that Hartford is the type of team that is built to go on the road and have a result that they can get a trophy in this moment. When we're talking about a Sacramento team, ever since Neil Collins has come over, it's been a different group. They've been a group that's been dynamic, and they've been determined to win tournaments. Not only they're going for the Jägermeister Cup final, but he's not shy about saying that this group wants to win the whole thing as well. When we talk about Hartford, it's really an upstart team that's been built to have success, and now you're starting to see it really come to fruition. So a final that's going to be a lot of fun for everybody, and I think it's going to be something that has a lot of action in it as well.
No doubt. Sacramento played practically nobody on Wednesday night. It is tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, on the CBS Sports Golasso Network. Also, Joey Farrell, my boy, bling bling.
2 Chainz.
It's Oktoberfest here in Loudoun County. I
got him.
Tonight's halftime is brought to you by Van Meter. It is Birmingham 1, Loudoun nothing. 2 Chainz not included.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a love take a love for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Get double points this fall at Best Western.
Hartford Athletic gets to the Jägermeister Cup final.
Sacramento sweep the penalties. Sac Republic make another indomitable run to a cup final.
DC News Now, bigger and only getting better.
Join us as we welcome Susan Tran to the DC News Now team.
Decades of journalism experience, a steadfast commitment to community, and an energy we can't wait for.
Susan Tran joins DC News Now, super serving the DMV with Susan Tran at the anchor desk.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on DC News Now.
Halftime is presented by Van Meter. Loudoun United trailing Birmingham Legion 1-0 here at the half. Mike Watts and Jeff Antonello. Let's get you caught up with what's going on around the championship and beyond. Here is what's going on here tonight around the championship. As mentioned, Detroit is closing in on the final whistle of their game. North Carolina up 2-0 at last check. Louisville can move within a point of winning the Shield, but they can't win it this weekend. because they need a 4-point swing, and Charleston is not playing. Any other matchups you like?
Well, there's a lot of different playoff implication when you look across. Of course, we already talked about the Jägermeister Cup. That's a big one that everyone's looking forward to. But then you look at a team like the Switchbacks for San Antonio as well. The Switchbacks is a team that's really trying to make that push. They've been on the wrong side of a couple results, and San Antonio is a team that's coming on late in this season. So I think that that's a good one to keep an eye on when you're talking about a team that's trying to defend their crown, but then also a team that's really coming along as of late when they hit a little bit of a mid-season lull. So that'll be a good one tonight over on ESPN Plus at 8 Eastern as well.
Meanwhile, this is what happened midweek and earlier today. So El Paso, big win in the West. Mentioned Sacramento really didn't play anybody, and they still got the result at home, 2-1. Birmingham dropping a late equalizer against North Carolina. A little bit of help for Loudoun there, and then North Carolina falling behind 2-0 this afternoon.
Well, everything's going the way that you want to see if you're a Loudoun fan, except for the result that's going on right now. So we'll see how the second half goes. But again, you have to give Birmingham credit the way that they've been able to bounce back from a difficult result in the midweek fixture. And
may we offer you these news and notes. Augie Williams hits 250. J.P. Skeers has a new deal, but it's Sean Tosh who becomes the league's all-time leader in appearances. He scored his 25th career goal, a winner in that game as well.
Sometimes things just line up for a player, don't they? When you talk about a game-winning goal in that type of moment, credit the player. He's been a stalwart for this Louisville group who's had so much success, especially when he's been on the squad.
And as always, 296 games in, he is still tucked in, locked in. He and Louisville are closing in back-to-back shields. 3-time champion in this league at Rochester and twice at Lou City. So that's what's going on around the championship. These fans hoping there are goals to be had in the second half, and historically, even last game, Loudoun has proven up to that task. It is Birmingham leading 1-0 at halftime with their season hanging in the balance. First half highlights, second half kickoff when we return to Segra Field in Leesburg.
DC News Now, the only station focusing on the entire DMV. Reporters in 5 locations throughout the region. A look at weather with a regional approach, so you always know what's ahead. And an unmatched commitment to local news. More community, more breaking news, and more weather coverage for everyone in the DMV. Join Chris Flanagan, Susan Tran, and Janessa Webb. Watch DC News Now tonight at 10 on DCW 50.
Come see what's trending on Karamo. He has deleted 1,938 texts in the last 30 days.
Unlock that phone for me. What's in there that you cannot show me?
See what's taking over everybody's feed.
You did try to gaslight her. You did try to mislead her. You did try to manipulate her. I don't even worry about that at all. This is a lot of chaos from the beginning.
A lot. All season on Karamo.
Weekdays at 3 on DCW 50.
Meet Bob. Meet Abishola. Life isn't always easy when cultures collide.
Hey, Auntie.
But they can always count that Abishola loves Bob, and Bob hearts Abishola.
Weekdays at 7 on DCW 50.
From down below to way up high, there's fun in every layer of Luray Caverns. What will you discover?
Super serving the DMV means covering the entire DMV.
Weather with a regional approach, so you know what's moving in and where the action will be.
And most importantly, so you know when it's getting serious.
DMV First Warn Days on DC News Now means you need to be weather aware.
So you can prepare, plan, and keep your family safe.
DC News Now, super serving the entire DMV. Get your forecast at dcnewsnow.com.
Perfect night here in Loudoun County, Virginia. It is 1-0 to Birmingham. While the conditions are ideal, the scoreline for Loudoun is not. Take you to first half highlights. And Loudoun United, at the outset of this game, looked like they were intent on not only scoring first,
the tail end of the first half where they were able to regain that possession a little bit more. And you talk about set pieces, 0 corner kicks as well to Loudoun's 5.
So the result in Detroit has gone final. Detroit City picks up an enormous 3 points against North Carolina. In doing so, it means Loudoun can jump to third with a come-from-behind win here tonight.
Birmingham Legion substitution at the start of the second
Birmingham going to their bench.
Number 15, Tyler Pasher.
Pasher wins the penalty but comes off at halftime.
It's an interesting one there for me. I think that Pasher was doing a good job. He was really one of the players offensively that was able to create a little bit for himself. That's what the penalty kick came off of. There was an opportunity earlier in the game as well where he was able to cut inside, but opting to pull him off and get a different look. Coach Mark Riggs.
Dawson McCartney comes on in his stead. McCartney's been fairly consistent starter when he's been available. This runs out. Now, I think the real question for us was, is Loudoun going to make changes because they only have one window remaining? The Birmingham sub is brought to you by Segra. Looks like Loudoun content to remain with the 11 they have right now, but they only have that one final chance to make a change down the stretch, and if they do so, they can use up to 3 subs. And there is an element of, if you think you played a good half and you think players are in a good vein, why go blow it up for the sake of blowing it up? I see all sides of that. It's not an easy thing when you have, well, 2 hands tied behind your back.
Well, the substitute I think that we're going to be waiting for is Pedro Santos. At what moment do you bring him into the game? Not surprising that they didn't do it at halftime, because he's this type of substitute that if you're going to bring him on, you want it to be in a moment where he can make a very big impact in terms of swinging the momentum. Maybe there's some more tired legs out there and he can bring that fresh energy. But I think that's a substitute that I would imagine, especially if this scoreline holds, that's one of the substitutes that will definitely be made here from Loudoun to see if he can bring that spark.
Well, when we were chatting with Ryan Martin in the lead up to this game, he said Zach Ryan might be good for 45 minutes. Well, might isn't good enough when you bring a player on at halftime and you might have to exchange him off at some point. You probably won't get that luxury, so waiting 15 minutes could give him a far better chance at finishing the game.
What do they say when you make a plan? When you make a plan, you get laughed at?
When we make plans, God laughs.
Yep, I think that was probably the 45 minutes for Martin kind of going out the window when you're talking about the substitutes that needed to be made.
Inclined to agree. And for Birmingham, they're up at halftime. For most teams, that's good news. Therein lies the problem. They lead the league in points dropped from a winning position. This is offside. It might be too late, but if you're Birmingham, at some point you have to find a way to nudge one of these over the line, and no time like the present.
You would think that, but at the same time, the story that the season's kind of told the story of what that statistics that you just read. But I mean, this is a moment for Birmingham to show coach what they have. We're professional players out here. Everybody has those opportunities to impress a coach. And getting a result like this against a team that's desperate for 3 points, when you're talking about a Loudoun group that can clinch the playoffs tonight, could go a long way, especially with the result that they had on Wednesday. It shows to the character of the players on Birmingham.
Couple notable stats in that vein. Birmingham just 1 win when they score first this year in 8 tries, 4 losses, 3 draws. Birmingham, as this is sailing up and over.
Man, very fortunate for Rowe, the goalkeeper, way out of position there, trying to build out of the back. That ball was just hit with way too much power. You're trying to chip the goalkeeper. It doesn't need to be that much. Froze on top of the 18. Just a little bit of finesse there, and you're up 2-0.
Out into space, this will skim out. Maybe a throw here for Loudoun to take quickly, and so they do. That was the 8th penalty, by the way, Loudoun has conceded, most of any team in the championship this year. led to the goal.
You don't think about it much as a set piece, but when you talk to Coach Ryan Martin, he's talking about how set piece goals has been something that they've struggled with this year. And even a penalty kick, you know, you're talking about 8 goals a year. Not that it's a gift, you know, the goalkeeper always has a chance to make the save, but those are types of goals that go a really long way.
Foul from Ordonez, who attempted just 5 passes in the first half. There's the giveaway and the chip.
And it was not a chip. He hit that ball with way too much power. He almost kicked it like a field goal. Farrell's all the way on top of the 18-yard box. The ball turns over. He's trying to connect with his center backs. When you pick your head up like there, just a little bit of finesse, and you're up 2-0.
While we're at it, Birmingham, this is the 5th time this year they've scored the opening goal on the road. They have won none of them. Loudoun has conceded the opening goal 7 times and actually gotten points 5 of them. 3 of them have been wins. All of this to say, history says we are not done here. And that more or less everything that's occurred here is in no way surprising. Not the penalty, not the opening goal, not if there's a comeback or a collapse. It's pretty wild. Ordonez brings it down. There are certain numbers, right, that are just like guaranteed your team is more likely to do X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. And Birmingham has flown in the face of all of them. A little shimmy here from Glasgow.
Well, especially too when you're talking about a lot of times those statistics, they fluctuate throughout the course of the season, but when you're this late into the season and it's just held true.
Yeah, you go, this is just what it is.
It is what it is, and then, you know, anything different ultimately becomes the outlier.
These sides met way back on opening day. Birmingham, 2 minutes in, thought this is our year because Jake Roof scored the opening goal. And then in what turned out to be an example of their season, Jacob Erlinson scored 3 minutes later to equalize, and then Abakora and Zach Ryan scored. This will be a corner. IBEW Local 26 corner kick. IBEW Local 26. Empower your future.
I think Loudoun would like to empower one of these set pieces. This is their 6th corner kick of the game.
Below. Set up well for McCabe. Now hit with venom by Awuah.
Ambitious effort there from McCabe, leaving his feet, trying that scissor kick. But again, it's another opportunity. A lot of numbers around the ball for this Birmingham group. Shot sails over the bar, not really testing the goalkeeper as we get another look at it here. McCabe with the valiant effort there. It's a good, well-timed layoff, but again, just leaning too far back on the shot, not able to get the ball in frame. They really need to start testing the goalkeeper. It's one thing to have the sustained possession. It's one thing to get shots off, but if the shots aren't on frame, it's not going to do you any type of service.
Still another home game left for Loudoun this year. The finale of the regular season against North Carolina. They're going to have huge stakes. One that could tee them up for a quarterfinal on home ground. Skundrich, slip ahead beyond Glasgow. Good time to remind you that soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats. And Oktoberfest tonight here at Segra Field.
Let's have a time.
Whatever you may or may not think about the commentary to this point, Oktoberfest is uninvolved. Spare a thought for the referee, who's probably saying the same thing. That is Edson Carvajal. Like the call or don't, Oktoberfest is uninvolved. off of Martinez, but the outlet siphoned off by Kavita.
It's been a good battle tonight. Ordonez and Kavita got the better of him on that one, but Ordonez has done a good job as well, holding the ball up. It's been a good duel between the center back and the 9.
Header back, Martinez drags it down. From one knee, gave it off to Damas. Mickelhatton. Travis gliding through. Travis cuts across. Hammered it frame. Blocked by his own player, Damas. Peter Lee Vassell, who scored a scorching free kick a few games back. Haven't seen a ton of Peter Lee Vassell on the ball yet.
Oh, he does a good job there. Ball on top of the box, and it really was in that build-up. Great vision on the cutback. Travis doing a good job making his way to that byline. Bypasses by the Loudoun defense pretty much with ease when you're talking about the way that he was able to shift through, and he has great recognition. He cuts that ball on top of the back of the box. There's a lot of traffic from the Loudoun defense inside, and instead of driving that ball hard across the 6, he picks his head up, sees the trailing run, and unfortunately for Birmingham, it was a little bit of friendly fire as Damas just couldn't get his foot out of the way.
Vassell, give and go off Martinez, slides toward Damas. Vassell, Martinez turns, cross got turned away by Awua. Martinez sliding after he lost control of the ball, deemed foul-worthy.
Just left his foot up and made a little bit of contact there. Pretty unusual foul. You don't really see many that go down that way. We're talking about Martinez having control of the ball.
Mickelhatton, and McCartney plays back. Here's Turnbull. New York kid, played 5 years at Stony Brook, ended up at New York City for a couple seasons. Rhode Island last year, assistant starter on the team that won the East. And Jackson Travis just got pulled down.
Travis has come alive here in the last 10 minutes or so. Really a player that hasn't been on the ball much at all, but shifty on the ball, creating for his team, draws the foul here. Earlier he was able to get that cross off.
Ooh, Damas is the one who ends up committing the foul as he leapt in for that. That was left way too much to chance.
Just not on the same page with his goalkeeper.
Garrison Tubbs only his 3rd game with the club.
Expecting Faroux to come out here and collect the ball. He judges best to try to show it off to Damas. Oh, it was a little bit of a head back. He actually ends up doing a good job with the way that that ball checked up. I think Faroux would have liked him to be a little bit more confident. Off the initial ball in, I thought he was trying to hold up the forward Damas in order for the goalkeeper to come out, but ultimately he puts his body on the line and able to head that ball back to Faroux. the way that that ball checked up off the turf makes it a dangerous situation.
Tubbs' third start since rejoining. He was in for one game and then recalled by DC. Troy Lassane out as the manager there, and the switch from a 3-back to a 4-back. No, it sounds kind of off to say, but obviously now you only need 2 center backs instead of 3. Sort of made him excess parts under Rene Weiler. So Harrison Tubbs coming back down, seeing time of late. And we'll see how much time he needs to play with Learman injured. Into the air, Ordonez tried to spin free. Loudoun offering their frustration, saying, how's that not a penalty? Because if he spins back to the inside, the ball might be his. It turns into a corner. IBEW Local 26 corner kick. IBEW Local 26, empower your future. Below. Awuwa, ton of English on that, and got hit back to Delgado. Let's go back, take a look.
We talked about Ordonez and Kavita doing battle all night long. It's that flick up. Hands are on him, but Ordonez goes down too easy for me. He does feel his hands. He feels Kavita's hands on him, but after that initial touch, he just drops to the ground. There was contact there, but not enough there for the referee to point to the spot.
We've crossed the hour mark, and it's about that time where if you're loud and you contemplate changes, but if you're going to make them, you got to make them wholesale. Injuries suffered by Giannis Learman and Ben Mines in the first half limits Loudoun to the 1 sub window remaining. And you can see the discussions already ongoing as to how this is going to change things. Zach Ryan into the game off a strained ligament that limited into about a 45-minute usage tonight. He'll come in with half an hour to go. Bolu Akinyoti came in from Miami, started 21 games there. His third appearance for the club, all off the bench since his acquisition middle of September. And as you called for, Pedro Santos comes in as well. Triple sub brought to you by Segra. By the way, heck of an effort by Robbie Dambrot. Came in off the bench, gives as much as he can, and then takes leave. You also take a center back off here. So therein lies sort of the need to make some tactical changes as well.
Well, I think with this, you'll see Ryan play a little bit higher, a little bit more of that traditional 9 role. Look for him to be able to provide that layoff, those layoff opportunities, where Ordonez isn't quite as strong on the ball. I think for Martin, you know, he's going to provide that little bit more of width and just that strong hold-up play, where Ordonez has done a good job of that, but you need a fresh body in there to battle and look for Pedro Santos to collect those balls out wide or maybe hang out right underneath Ryan so that he can pick up those second balls, and that's that creativity that we've been missing in that for the first 60 minutes at the top of the box for Loudoun. That's what Pedro Santos is going to provide for this group.
Well, and this gives you an idea of where Bolu Akinyoti is going to be, primarily a defensive midfielder. Ball in front toward Ryan, around the keeper. That got blocked. Kavita comes back, slides to save the day for Birmingham. Instant impact from Zach Ryan off the bench.
Well, we just talked about it. Having a player like Ryan available to you, and he almost makes pay dirt there in the first minute, but you have to give Kavita credit as well. It's that long ball. That's what they had success with in the first half. It's a brilliant ball in. Ryan doing a great job of getting on the front shoulder of Kavita, but give Kavita credit for his recovery. Beautiful ball in here. It's that first touch from Ryan. He's able to round Delgado, the goalkeeper, but Kavita does his job, drops to that near post, and provides that block.
And look, you are never going to see me rail on a young player in goal, right? 19 years old, Fernando Delgado. He started now the last 4 and 6 of the last 8 games, but he's conceded more goals than he has saves. It's kind of a game in which, with Matt Van Oekel having dealt with injury earlier and on the bench tonight, one of the league's all-time greats, Delgado's still trying to find his way. You got to put something on him. In that instance, he's up to it, but nervy moment. In theory, he's there to be had.
And these are moments for young goalkeepers where they need to learn. So it's a situation where you're talking about a goalkeeper at his age. You have Van Oekel on the bench, and at these types of the moments where you're hoping that Van Oekel, I'm sure he is, he's a good veteran, he's trying to help Delgado along. Because goalkeepers, young goalkeepers especially, they need this type of experience. They need to go through these types of trials. But even on that play, I think Delgado, he was a little bit late coming to the ball, but he's able to make it in a situation where Ryan has to round him a little bit. So these are all in-game experience things that you need to go through, and these are kind of the trials of a young goalkeeper that if you're going to grow yourself into the position, you need to go through.
That is kept in at the line. Glasgow, it hits the net. They say no, it did get over the line. So no goal. By the way, Van Oekel turned 39 2 weeks ago, is actually the assistant goalkeeping coach for the squad, which we've seen a number of goalkeepers go that route, the tail end of their career. Ironically, it got over, but not of Loudoun's volition. They thought they had kept it in, but it's a corner anyway. IBEW Local 26 corner kick. IBEW Local 26. Empower your future. Corner into the air. Awua back to Skundrich. Chips it ahead. Martinez bodied off Skundrich. Offered an effort that rolls all the way down to Delgado. Can't watch this match? You can turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app. Velo kept it alive, spins it wide. Ball layered through towards Santos. He has been impactful. This is a corner over the express discontent of Birmingham.
And strong defending there again from Kavita. Clearly frustrated with the referee, just earned himself a yellow card. But that was a strong bit of defending, and he's been solid here, especially the last 5 or 6 minutes, going one-on-one against fresh legs. Comes through, makes that challenge against Santos, and here we have another opportunity. They have to get something on one of these corner kicks.
He and Mickelhatton now the only 2 players in the game on a yellow card. Service whipped through, plenty of contact from Daly trying to hold that player down. Martinez sends it up and away. The yellow cards tonight are presented by Continental Cards. Continental Cards, elevate your collection.
It was a little bit tough to see who was holding who on that corner kick. It looked like the 2 players were almost holding each other.
Sounds like a good time to throw some Luther Vandross on. Free kick. Seeded by Kwame Awuwa. Suffered by Daly.
This is the time of the game as well. You're going to see challenges a little bit later, a little bit more tired legs. And then on the Birmingham side, spending a little bit more time on the ground.
Drew Skundrich goes into the book, his 6th yellow card this year. Driven away by Akinyoti. Again, known as a defensive midfielder. He's played some center back earlier in his career in the championship. So this is not the totally off-putting scenario for him, but it is a pretty good example that you've just gone 5 deep at the center back position in this game. After Learman went out injured and Robbie Dambrock came in, gave as much as he could. It also gives you a player who's a known destroyer in midfield, but also someone who can play a little bit higher than maybe your typical center back would.
And especially when you're talking about late runs and the opportunity to create different opportunities from breaking lines from the back line, having a player that's comfortable in multiple positions is an asset.
They skipped several numbers.
Yeah, they jumped straight to the double digits.
They did. 6, 7, 12. So after much consternation, Kwame Awuwa was awarded that previous yellow card, not Drew Skundrich. He was the one who committed the infraction.
Come see what's trending on Karamo. He has deleted 1,938 texts in the last 30 days. See what's taking over everybody's feed all season on Karamo.
Weekdays at 3 on DCW 50.
19 minutes and stoppage time to play here tonight in Loudoun County. Ryan Martin is hoping this would be a night of jubilee. If it is, it would require a comeback win. And then unfortunately, Detroit, depending on how you look at things, beat North Carolina. Means they'd have to wait for Indy and Louisville to finish and hope that Louisville wins this evening combined with a Loudoun win to clinch today. Ball touched through and below, couldn't quite get his hips around on it. Birmingham going to their bench. They made the one change at halftime, bringing off Tyler Pasher and bringing on Dawson McCartney. And now Jake Roof coming on for Peter Lee Vassell. These subs brought to you by Segra. Sam Mickelhaden, who's on a yellow card, is replaced by Edwin Lasso. Subs 2 and 3, first window, so Mark Briggs will have 2 subs left and be able to deploy them as he sees fit. Turnbull blasting that off Pedro Santos. I was so intrigued listening to Ryan Martin talk about Santos and just the joy he still has to play, right? I think sometimes you hear the guy who's an MLS designated player, the guy played in Champions League, and you might think he's sort of floating above it all. That's really not the case. Ball driven down into the corner. Excellent first touch. Hit toward frame, blocked, and turned away. Glasgow almost had the highlight of his career. Holy smokes.
The way he's able to bring this down with his first touch. Look at this. Leg extended around Travis, takes that touch inside. But again, it's that good bit of last-ditch defending there from Birmingham. He's able to come across, get that block in, but a great bit of skill there, almost on the highlight reel.
Corner, near post.
Oh, this Loudoun group, they could just not buy a goal right now. Off of that near post run, they've recognized that. There's been 2 or 3 corners now. They've had that space at the near post. The ball is flicked wide. Another open opportunity there. Just not able to get anything on frame right now, even though the opportunities are starting to come for this Loudoun group as they continue to push.
Tingy denies. Go back to Santos for a moment, right? He's won everything he needs to win. And I promise you, he's making less than he was making in Columbus. He just, it's not necessarily a grab everyone by the arm kind of thing. He just leads by example. He shows up, he puts the effort in. Got a red card a few weeks ago. He's devastated because he knows what it means to the team. He's just bought in. Here he is on the ball. Didier Drogba was much the same way. Santos finished his career at Phoenix Rising, and don't get me wrong, at the time, you're talking about one of the great strikers in Premier League history. No knock on Santos in his career. He was getting an equity piece of the club, which didn't hurt. But like Didier Drogba was having guys over for barbecues on the off days.
Well, that's what you want out of the players that are like that. You know, Santos is a player that when he steps into the locker room, everybody on Loudoun recognizes who he is, what he's accomplished. And when you have that type of mentality and that type of attitude, those are the types of players that you mentioned hosting a team barbecue, Didier Drogba. Those are the types of things that really start to build the culture and the winning ways of a group. And you bring in a player like a Pedro Santos to this group, make no mistake about it. That's a presence in the locker room that's had a huge impact on the way that Loudoun's been able to transform what they were before into the Loudoun that we know now, and a team that is making this push for the playoffs. And he is a huge part of that. Just his presence, not even talking about what he provides on the field.
He showed up on a 25-day contract 2 weeks into the season, and obviously is stuck around. Birmingham's fourth substitute, Preston Tabor-Itaka, into the game. And a look at Bolu Akinyodi drawing the referee's ire. This would be yellow card worthy.
Travis exits the game. He's somebody that I really thought brought a little bit of different momentum to this Birmingham group in the second half. He had creativity on the ball, created a few different opportunities, able to sustain a little bit more possession.
Substitution by Segra.
So a good showing there for the left outside mid wing back.
6 starts this year for Travis, who's really in a good spot in Colorado when he first came in, but a core muscle injury in 2022 knocked him out, and then he injures his thumb, and that takes him out in February. And Chris Armas trying to figure out the best way to deploy him. Sort of an intriguing place for a young player to be. He's gotten good time here with Birmingham. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Skundrich. Driving at the back line, Glasgow. Got stymied, raced off the ball. Martinez struggling to get it away. Ryan back forward.
You think that first touch earlier in the half had a little bit to do with his confidence that we're seeing now from Glasgow?
Yeah,
he's been on the ball now. He's been on the ball. He's trying to create a little bit more, taking on defenders. And again, for Loudoun, it doesn't come off in the final third. But that's what you need to see, a little bit more creativity. Try to start creating a little bit. We're getting to the dire moments of this game, almost the final 10 minutes. Need to see something a little bit more different.
The win puts them on the precipice of the playoffs. Santos. Damas trying to pull away from Tubbs. Good slide by Santos. Comes back out to McCabe. Flicks it back into the width. Lua claiming a corner he won't get. Glasgow playing with a lot of confidence. Santos, Glasgow. He's able to pull that through with him. He's got all that space. He was right there.
Yeah, just a little bit off on that one. His speed almost did him a disservice because he was running so fast that it didn't leave Santos the passing lane that he needed to play it in front of him. So unfortunately for Glasgow, he overruns that ball. But again, he's been the first player that we've seen on this Loudoun group, not afraid to take players on and create opportunities for himself. Just a little bit out of touch in the final third as this Loudoun group, but Glasgow, he's really coming alive here in the last 15.
Actually got some decent time. That's Tabor Itaka got totally entangled with Skundrich.
Surprised the referee didn't opt to go to the card there on that one. That was a big challenge there, pulling him from behind.
That was his first challenge in this game, but that's one that might have risen to the occasion.
Yeah, especially late in the game like this.
Below, Glasgow. Free kick. What a place to win it. Seated by Turnbull.
And that's just recognition from a player of Santos's ability. He's on top of the box, his back is turned. It wasn't a hard foul. Turnbull, he comes in, he's trying to close the space, but right when you feel this contact, look at this veteran move from Santos. He feels his contact, he feels the hands on his back, and he hits the deck. Veteran move there. Turnbull, he's frustrated, but when you have a player like Santos who's tricky the way that he is, he's crafty, he's been around, if you feel hands on your back on top of the box and your back is turned to the goal, hit the deck. The ref's going to call it every single time. The contact wasn't hard, but just a veteran play there from Santos to have that type of recognition and create this opportunity that'll be most likely for himself.
I think everyone in the stadium is hoping he takes this himself at least. But Zach Ryan moved over to the ball. Rua is there. Birmingham scored from the spot in the 29th minute. AJ Patterson. Is there an equalizer to be had? Hit toward frame. That took a crazy amount of English off the wall and the hit by Ryan.
Yeah, I was wondering who was going to take it because the right footer, you'd think they'd go near post, but Ryan opts to try to go over the wall, but the wall does its job, stays strong. And here again, we have another corner kick.
Yet again. The backside, below, could not keep it in. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Later tonight on the Golazo Network, the Jägermeister Cup Championship decided between Hartford and Sacramento, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. You and I are going to be walking out of the building at that time and a chance to just go watch it ourselves, fans like everybody else.
And that's when we can go into Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. This kid's onto something.
He's breaking the game. He's breaking down the game.
He is pretty good. Awua back outside. Really compact from Birmingham. Can they finally see one of these over the line? It has been the scourge of their season, these moments that have gotten away. Akinyoti. Awua seeking Tingy. 1v3 there.
You need to stay patient. I know it's hard. If you're Loudoun, I know it's hard to stay patient in those moments. Birmingham has everybody behind the ball. You're moving the ball side to side. It feels like you're going nowhere. But those are the opportunities as you see another late challenge here.
The Tabor Itaka challenge not getting a yellow, I think, probably lessened everyone else's ability to take a foul and get away with it. Ronaldo Damas just went into the book for that.
But this is the moment here for Loudoun. This is where you need to stay patient. Birmingham's going to have these numbers behind the ball. The opportunities when you put the ball into the box, you need to be numbers up. Move that ball from side to side. Try to create those passing lanes if you can, because those turnovers are the ones that'll kill you.
And Lasso just saw that ball streak between his feet.
Yeah, we don't expect that from McCabe.
No. Here he is again. Keeps it moving. Glasgow. Oh, come on! Glasgow whipping the cross. That turned away. He's had two moments that have just made you drop your jaw. And Damas carrying forward the other way. It's broken up, but there's still an option arriving for Birmingham. Kick save for O. Vital. It keeps Loudoun in the game.
Nod to the goalkeepers for showing out in the last minute here. On the first play, it's Glasgow doing a great job driving down the line. Martin cutting towards that near post, and Delgado holding strong. As we get another look at these here. Big time save from Farrow. It's against the run of play. Loudoun doing a good job getting themselves back defensively. As that ball steps out, Farrow's making himself big, closing down the angle, using his feet. Clear that ball out and keep Loudoun in this game. But even on the other side as well, Glasgow makes that run. Brian Martin kicks it to the near post. And it's Delgado who holds himself strong to make the save to keep Loudoun off the board.
What's it going to take tonight? A lot of heat on that. Below settled. Kwame Awuwa offering Glasgow at the back of Damas. Damas has an option by the corner flag. Glasgow a little too handsy. Birmingham has 1.03 expected goals. They got nearly 0.8 of one just from the penalty. So the rest of it about 0.3 all night. And for fans that may not be analytically inclined, right, if we say 0.788 expected goals for the penalty by Patterson, it's as if to say that chance is worthy of a 78.8% chance of going in the net. Obviously, you outperform there. The rest of the night, all the chances combined have amounted to about a third of a goal. This is caught by Delgado off his line. 2.5 minutes plus stoppage to play. You can see Skundrich waving players forward.
I would argue, though, that Birmingham's best chance there in the last minute was probably the best chance either team's had in the game.
In the run of play, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the opportunities that they've been able to have. The expected goals have been extremely low, but they've had the two opportunities to really test the goalkeeper.
That was their first shot in 30 minutes and 20 seconds. And it could have been the dagger. But as has been explained ad nauseum, the story of their season is that they have not taken that chance to insert the dagger. Play continues.
I can't talk enough about how well Fernando Cavita's played here. He's been left on an island multiple times. Doesn't matter the forward who's coming in from Loudoun, and he's been up to the task. You talk about the block goal opportunity as well. He's really been standing tall for this Birmingham defense. Big part of the reason that Loudoun hasn't been able to get on the score sheet or really have those opportunities on frame.
Good work there by Tubbs to hold off Tabor Itaka. Not left on an island. Akinyoti. Slip ball through. Is this the chance for Loudoun? It's Delgado again. Kwame Awuwa had pulled up off the left-hand side and could have equalized. And back to Farrow it goes.
Awuwa finds that space in behind. He has his speed. He takes that positive first touch. But you have to give the goalkeeper for Birmingham credit. That's two big saves he's had here in the last 5 minutes. It's standing tall for his team. He's able to close the gap on Aua, keep himself tall.
This is going to be a corner. That got out over the line, and we'll take a look at that chance from Aua.
It's just running behind. Academy finds a space behind. He's on that back shoulder. Aua picks his head up, but Delgado does a great job of just closing that space, similar to what Ferro did just a couple minutes ago, using any part of his body, keeps himself tall, closes down the angle, and keeps his team up 1-0.
4 added minutes. Brought to you by Novec. Novec's energy-saving tips are a real game changer. Tingy, service, domineering header as far as Aua. No one is safe in the championship. The top 2 in the West both lost last week. Ball pinged forward. Glasgow on the first time. Now Loudoun could go down to a down on their luck Birmingham team.
Oh, that's a great ball in from McCabe in Glasgow. He's on that far post. He tries to get it redirected onto the goal frame, but unfortunately he's just leaning back a little bit too much. That's a great ball in there from McCabe, something that you'd like to see. Glasgow finding that space on that back shoulder. Unfortunately, he opted try to get his foot up towards it. Maybe he can get a head on it, but it was a little bit too out and far in front of him. And that's kind of been the story of the game for Loudoun. Just a little bit off those little inches in the final third.
It is another wild night in the championship. If this result holds, 3 of the top 4 in the East will have dropped points in a 2-week span. The top 2 in the West did so as well. Free kick here to Loudoun. A point doesn't allow them to clinch this week, but it makes the scenarios for a home playoff game far more appealing. Lest we forget, win either of the next 2 games and Loudoun clinches because they face the opposition with whom they are trying to eliminate. And for Birmingham, it was a loss that knocks them out, but pending other results, and including a draw, but especially this win, they stay alive. Service forward, Tubbs header, sent away. Glasgow goes to work again, angles back, hampered by Damas. Circumnavigating. It is a throw for McCabe. The energy really picking up here at the end, becoming borderline frantic. That stayed in. Glasgow trying to turn a corner. And instead of a, well, wait, it is in fact a corner. Another corner.
If you've worked on something in the training grounds, now's the time to pull it out. They've seen just about everything. It's been a lot of direct balls. There's been some runs to the near post. Goalkeeper's up, everybody's up.
13 corners in this game, all by Loudoun United. Service across, up and away. Damas started to run forward and now out into space. Damas kept onside by the halfway line. That's a foul. That is a red card. Zach Ryan is sent off.
Well, here's the deal. I understand what the referee is seeing here. The goalkeeper's out. Ryan is the last defender. There's nothing but open space in front of him. There's no goalkeeper back. So if you're going to call the foul for the referee, he shoves him with his arm. If you're going to call a foul from the referee, it's going to get you a red card. Because of the situation, it's a tactical foul where there's no goalkeeper in net. And as the last defender impeding the goal, the referee, if he calls that foul, he's almost forced to show the red card based off the rules of the game.
So Ryan takes the long walk. Damas will take an even shorter walk. His number was on the card. Erickson Tenyo comes on for him. That's the 5th and final Segra sub for Birmingham. We're gonna go probably to 96, you would think, based on the red card and this stoppage that followed.
And that challenge from Ryan, I do think it was body to body. but it was that last little arm that got extended that made the referee feel like he needed to make the call. Personally, I would have let it play out. I think that that's a moment in the game where there's two players that are going towards the ball. The goal is empty. It wasn't a malicious foul. I do think that Ryan was trying to use his body. But again, once the referee makes that foul call, he's almost forced to show the red card based off of the situation with Thoreau leaving the goal.
Wow, that's how it ends. Birmingham Legion, a 1-0 win to keep their season alive another week. And Loudoun United will not clinch this week. They'll have to wait until they make the trek out to Detroit next Saturday night to try and seal the deal. That is a stunning finish. And Birmingham, through the Patterson penalty, still, even on life support, alive.
Well, it's stunning for a couple reasons. Now Loudoun loses a player like Ryan for the next game at the final minute, but you have to give Birmingham credit. They came in, they played solid defensively after they were able to get that penalty kick goal against the run of play. They weathered the storm. They created a couple opportunities that tested Thoreau, but at the end of the day, they did enough. Kavita, Delgado, defensively, they did enough to keep everything in front of them from the Loudoun group. Delgado comes up with a couple big saves, and you were looking for this Birmingham team to have a type of response that they needed to have. They get their first win in 11 matches, keep themselves alive, and now for Loudoun, it's a group that you look at their schedule, they're going on the road, they have to get points, they have to collect these wins, and now it makes it a little bit more of a difficult situation. But give all the credit to Birmingham for able to see this out, something that they really have not been able to do throughout the course of this season.
Notably, Zach Ryan, who started down the tunnel, the final whistle occurred. He actually went back out to talk to the referees after he'd been sent off. Just saw him on the field. Wow. Second win since June 21st for Birmingham Legion. And at least for another week, they can say they are still in the mix. Loudoun unable to take advantage of North Carolina stepping on the Detroit banana peel, and they can look behind them and recognize home playoff position. No guarantee either. We'll wrap it up after this.
Super serving the DMV means covering the entire DMV.
Weather with a regional approach so you know what's moving in and where the action will be.
And most importantly, so you know when it's getting serious.
DMV First Warn Days on DC News Now means you need to be weather aware.
So you can prepare, plan, and keep your family safe.
DC News Now, super serving the entire DMV. Get your forecast at dcnewsnow.com.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Well, this one deserves a lot of contemplation. Birmingham Legion's first win in 11 games. They needed 3 points to stay in the mix. They got exactly what they needed tonight. Patterson the winner, Mark Briggs, much needed 3 points. Ryan Martin can only soak it in. 2 road games coming up, both of which could push them into the playoffs. They desperately hope when they come back in 2 weeks
because Loudoun was not able to get a goal on the scorecard themselves. That's the way that it would stay. And Birmingham comes in here on a night that could have been a celebration and collects all 3 points.
Loudoun, 18 of the 24 shots, all 13 corners. If you are Loudoun, it's all still in front of you. Nothing substantially changed tonight, but this one's going to feel like one that got away.
Yeah, absolutely. You create these different opportunities. Look at the corner kicks. 13 corner kicks. This is the point for Coach Ryan Martin. He said they need to work on these offensively and defensively. When you get 13 corner kicks and only you have 2 shots on target, you need to create a little bit more of those opportunities. But it's something that Loudoun's going to learn from, they're going to grow from, and now they're under a little bit more pressure to get the points that they need to clinch the playoff spots that they're looking for. Because when you look at their schedule coming up, it's against teams that are fighting for the same exact thing.
So Ryan Martin brings the team together here post-game. They will head to Detroit on Saturday night. Birmingham stay alive. They face bottom of the East Miami next week. So who knows? All right, it is the first win in 86 days for Birmingham, going back to July 11th. And they do it against a Loudoun team who still has their eyes on a top 4 playoff position. For Jeff Attinella and our entire team in Loudoun County and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. The Legion win this on the Patterson penalty, 1-0. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.